how do you ensure a healthy relationship? That's a great question, right? How do you ensure a healthy relationship? Now, there was no specificity in terms of relationship, but I'm going to broaden the idea of relationship, not just a romantic relationship, but I'm going to really give the answer as it pertains to a career, corporate, business, romantic, a child. Anytime there's a relationship or an exchange or an interaction between you and another person, that's kind of where I'm going with this. So John from Queens, my old stomping grounds, New York, Queens. John, I want you to know that there, in my opinion, guys, I want to share something with you. This is all my opinion based on my life's observations and the fact that I have done coaching and I have had opportunities to speak and write and really get involved in the lives of thousands of others over the last 30 years, whether it's in business, whether it's in just speaking or coaching or writing. So I've got a pretty good handle on these answers. But again, they're my opinions. You may have something else differently to offer. But in the question of how do you develop a healthy relationship, John, let me just share with you that you have to have a few things, 5 things. 5 things must be in order for you to have a healthy relationship. Let me give you the first one. Before you get involved in any relationship, whether it's romantic, business, partnership, whatever it is, you have to have a personal list of what you're looking for in the relationship that might be developing with someone or something. In other words, if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you're looking for, then it could be staring you right in the face and you won't identify it. You also won't identify the things that you don't want. So come to the table with a list. This is my list of top 10 things that I want to experience in this relationship, that I want to see in the other person whose relationship I'm building. And I'm going to have a checklist so that way I can check off as I'm starting to see, as I'm starting to acknowledge that the person or this entity or whoever it is I'm building a relationship with checks off things on my list, because I have a list. If you have no list, then you have no benchmark. You have nothing to go with. That makes sense? Once you've got that, then now here's the things that you can look into to see if you've got a healthy relationship in store. If there's the promise of a healthy relationship. Number one, you have to make sure there's things in common. You have to make sure that you have things in common with this other person, with this employer, with this environment, with this church, wherever that you're building a relationship with. You have to have things in common. You don't have to have everything in common, but you better have more things in common than not. Things in common are important. It gives you things to talk about, right? Second thing I would encourage you, you have to make sure that you understand that for better or for worse, one is going to influence the other. This relationship that I'm building, is there going to be an influence that is going to help me become a better person, or am I going to be worse off? In other words, one person is going to influence the other. And if that influence comes on your side, where that influence you already know is probably not going to be a good one, you're going to develop bad habits. You're going to be a different person that you don't like. People may look at you and say, what happened to you? You used to be this person or that person. And that's as a result of the relationship you're building. If that influence is not strong, then you have to make sure that you recognize maybe that's not the best relationship to develop. Someone is going to influence the other person for better or for worse. You cannot be at the short end of the worst. Let me give you the third, very important, if you're building a healthy relationship. You have to know what's non-negotiable and what you're willing to compromise on. When two people come to the table, when there's a relationship being built, in order for that relationship to be healthy, there has to be give and take. There has to be negotiation. There has to be some compromise where you can meet in the middle. Well, you have to know what you're willing to compromise on and what you're willing not to compromise on. What's negotiable and what's non-negotiable. If you come to the table knowing that, then you will have a greater experience in making sure that you are engaging in a relationship that will be healthy. I hope that helps, John.